This is just a quick one to let you know I have a retreat in the gorgeous, medicinal, magical space of Donegal, in this beautiful house that is pure luxury with what do you call it? What would you call it? A chef who lives with us, Eileen, who's part of the team, I've worked with for a few years now. Eileen, God bless her, fell in love with a man from the north, God help. And she moved from Mexico to Ireland. What? Anyway, she cooks amazing vegetarian food and she takes such good care of us and gives a really homely vibe to the house. The house has a hot tub, a yoga studio, beach views, close to the beach. We're going to sunrise dip, saunas, breathwork. I'm going to offer yin practices, yang practices, a whole mix of movement to really take care of you and offer you that space to really rejuvenate and feel the electricity of life again if you've lost it, or just to connect to that, and really as a halfway point of the year to reflect and catch what's happened in the first half and give some space to what you want to bring in the second half. I think there's around 5 spaces left if you want to join us, and you can check out my Instagram and website for more feels on what that is like. Hello. How are you doing? I hope you're good. What's the crack? The first week of February, the final countdown to spring. Happy days. Even though it's going to be Baltic, at least it'll be brighter days, which always helps. And I've shared this, I have a theory that a cold winter brings a hot summer. So please God, I'm right? I actually found winter okay this year, did you? I suppose it depends what's going on in your life, because I always have to share this again, because in case new people or people forget, I listen to people's podcasts and it goes in one ear and out the other. It entertains you for like 2 seconds, or you connect with them for 2 seconds and then you forget their life story. There's so much information in our brains. But I lost 3 people in 18 months, my grandparents who brought me up and my dad. And 2023 I was really depressed, and 2024 I learned to walk again. It's the only way I can describe it. And so I'm really just enjoying feeling better at the minute, and I think that's really reflected in January for me. So it wasn't that bad, and it just made me really excited for summer. On those really dark, cold, freezing days, I just couldn't help but think summer. Today I'm going to chat to you. I went to a retreat at the weekend, so I'm going to share what happened for me at the retreat, what comes up for me in terms of resistance, what I don't like about retreat and what I love about retreat, okay? Just to help any of you who have never been on a retreat, or just to share what healing it offered me. Next week, I'm going to share some romantic stuff. Since it's the month of love, I have the gorgeous Emma Neal on again. So excited. And we're going to talk about all things love. Do you believe in love at first sight? What to do when someone's going hot and cold with you? What to do when you've been single a long time and you want to connect with somebody? What to do when you've been cheated on? Anything at all, just send us a message and we'll answer your questions and just give our feels and thoughts on what we have experienced to date. I am going to share a bit about being single and really wanting a baby, and I'm still looking on the dating apps and my crack around that. I'm actually going to ask Emma for some advice, because Emma on her podcast talked about having dating goals. And I'm just not very good at dating, so we'll see if she has some advice for me, or she can give me some goals that I can pursue. Maybe I should just ask someone out. That would scare the bejesus out of me. The Connect to Self course has begun, and I'm laughing because the work has begun on us all. What I love about holding space for these courses is that 3 times a year, I'm such a big liar, 3 times a year, because I hold this space, I facilitate and teach this material, it works on me each time. I get to heal every time I bring a group together, because the group has healing power. Every person who connects with the same intention creates an energetic field that heals each other. And I'm so lucky that I get to absorb that power 3 times a year. The course only began on Tuesday, and already my skin's having a reaction. There's been a romantic incident and I bawled about my dad. And I'll share more about that when I talk about the retreat. And it really brings things to the surface. It really magnifies things. There's an analogy I'm thinking of. Yeah, because, in group work, I think I shared this before, it's really powerful for war veterans who are really dissociated and have so much trauma to help them work through the material, because it's very difficult to do that solo, and the power of a group can really support a person. So I'm really excited, of course, to see what comes up for the women. And, at the end of the day, this has been my mantra. I know nothing. I have no answers for them. I have tools, I have education. There's things I can share, but any of their questions about what they should do, where they should go, I can only help them look within for those answers. I can have assumptions in my mind, which is none of my business to share, because it mightn't be even close to the bone, but to really continually ask them and help them and support them and getting to the answer. I remember I used to cry my eyes out going to my therapist, asking her questions. Why can't I get out of this when I was stuck in a relationship? Why am I hooked on this person? Because I felt like I was addicted to someone at one time, and she wouldn't give me the answer, and I was raging. I was like, why am I even paying you? This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous service. But always it's okay that if someone helps you, someone you've been working with a long time, because therapists have definitely said to me, if a person's abusive, or they didn't think that it was a safe relationship, or, that you've been told this again, it's okay if they reaffirm the facts of what they know about your life, but not to share their opinions, or to clearly state their opinion is this, but they don't know the answer. Do you know what I mean? They can say, I would believe that this isn't right for you, but you really need to get to the answer yourself. Let me share with you about the retreat. I signed up to a retreat in Wales. When did I sign up? Must have been before Christmas. It was with Erin and CJ. They're amazing movers. You can check them out on Instagram. They're incredible. I will link them below in the description. And I went to France with them, and I had a ball. Learned so much about movement, had a great time, and they were offering one in Wales. And I've never been to Wales. And I thought, 2 birds, 1 stone, let's go. And that was grand. And then I got so just to begin with, for anyone who has never went to a retreat, it's a lot of money to spend. I totally get that. You're talking £700. You're wondering, I could go on holiday for this. This is a lot of money. All the gibber of your brain, working out, because it's a big investment. And I think definitely before my yoga teacher training, because that was not, it was obviously I was studying, it wasn't like a retreat with relaxation, but it was a retreat in terms of really, having a pause in your life and just devoting some time to yourself. I think it's only from having that experience that I would invest money in retreats. And even then, there is the questions that come up, like, can I afford this? Is it worth the investment? Should I spend it on something else? Like, all those things definitely come up. And I have all that, even with the lived experience of the magic of them. But we forget how powerful they are too, or how much we need them until we go. That definitely came up for me, because I had resistance around spending the money, to be honest, this time, and worry about the money. And yeah, it was so worth it. It really, really was. And I'll explain why in this episode. Firstly, I got my phone stole, so I had an extra burden that month in terms of finances, and I had to really sit and question and, talk to CJ and Erin whether I could afford it and, what we could do to make it work. I really did need it. And there's other things that I'll just have to do without throughout the year, or, make different concessions, isn't it? Because we can't do it all. We have to choose what we can do. Although I would love to do it all. Yeah, so what was my reasons for going? My reasons for going was January, I really work hard. January's a very busy month for me. I am curating a course, refining a course. I'm meeting a lot of people, talking to them whether it's right for them, because it's not right for everybody. And I want the right people to be involved in the work and the course. And it just depends where you're at. The courses I teach aren't for people who are new to healing. It's for people who are already on their healing journey. And I realised I had a bereavement in December, and I realised I didn't really have any time to reflect, or, the time to dream and what I want in 2025. And that's the reason why I had booked the retreat initially, to sort of book out that time for myself. And this is, I think I had already signed up the retreat before the bereavement. So I knew even before that, I needed to make space to have time to connect to myself, especially not to just rush through life and repeat the same shit all the time. I wanted time to get really clear on the questions I'm asking, the answers I'm seeking, who is important in my life, what do I love doing, what brings me joy, what is stressing me out, what I need help with, and the way I'm spending time, does it reflect who's important in my life? Because sometimes it doesn't. And and to keep death close, because time is promised to no one. You know, if I was to be told I'm going to be dead in 12 months' time, it has to be fairly close to that, right? You know, I mean, obviously you're going to save money because you mightn't be dead next month and you need next year, so you need money. But even, you know, people who are close to you, you know, making sure that they know how much you love them and spend time with them and offer them the languages of love, which we'll talk about next week. And that's one of my favorite mantras, is there is no time to rush. And that's what keeping death close offers us, or offers me, is you don't want to rush your life away, and you don't want to rush the moments with the people you love away. And I am someone who, if I didn't have the practice in place, I would absolutely 1000% be at my deathbed in a blink, because I've rushed my life away. And just to recap that, you know, it is difficult. It's a difficult purchase to make, is a retreat. Because even if you have the finances, usually we're going to retreat because we need to love ourselves more, typically for me anyway. And I think that's the medicine that we all need. And so it's difficult when someone is low on self-love and struggling to make that investment, isn't it? And it's also a positive too for people who feel like you've so much more to go in your journey with self-love. The fact that you're even looking at a retreat, that you're thinking about investing the money, shows that there's a part of yourself that really does love yourself. That's a bit of golden thread to acknowledge. Okay, so the crack, going on the retreat, packed. I was going from Friday to Sunday. It was a 4-hour journey to Wales. People from Ireland are like, oh my God, you'd have the length of Ireland travelled no, I'm not joking, you could be north to south in Ireland in that time. So 4-hour journey is massive for us. Not in Australia, 4 hours is nothing, isn't it? So 4 hours to go to Wales. Wales is stunning, by the way. It's worth the 4-hour train journey. And the train down was fine, I think, because I was working on my way down. And that's what I love about trains. I can work on trains, but I can't work in a car and I can't work on an airplane. On a train, you can download shows. You could have a wee glass of wine if you wanted. Yeah, it's just so chill. Love a train, and Ireland really needs to up their game on trains. So anybody's linked to transport or can do anything about that, please do. I mean, why is the bus and the train the same time from Belfast to Dublin? Surely to God, we should have fast trains in Ireland by this stage of the game. Drives me bananas. Anyway, I'm on the train. Leave. I think the train left at 12:30. I arrived about 4:15. And it's just so lovely how instantly you fall into place. And I understand the apprehensions that people have. And I think that's one of the problems we have in our society, is we become so separated. We're so not used to mixing with strangers now. You know, for most of us, we've lost that community with our neighbours. We've lost the sense of community. And a lot of us are working to get that back. And retreat's a really good way that you can meet like-minded people, because if you're buying a retreat off a teacher, the people who are also buying the retreat, you know, people who want to work with me, for talk's sake, is because they connect with me, and we mirror each other, right? There's always that connection. Same people who come on the retreat, there's that connection there. So then the people who come will have a connection with each other. And it's a great way to meet new people. And I got there and everybody was lovely, met new people. And for me, it's the excitement of who you're going to meet, who's going to be there. And I think that's something you can look at in yourself, whether you have fear around meeting new people or you have excitement, you know, whether you're moving from a place of love or fear. Yeah. And so that was grand, met everybody and instantly felt relaxed. Obviously, I've been on retreat with Erin and CJ before, which would be a factor to that. And it was just so quiet and peaceful and beautiful. Wales is stunning. It's very like Ireland. And I just love the mad Welsh names. It's probably what people think about the Irish language, but Wales is really looks ridiculous. Sorry, I shouldn't say ridiculous, but it's crazy letters together. Had a lovely dinner. All the food was vegetarian. And then we we had a dinner, and then we had a sharing circle, and then you really get the feel of the similar values, humour and intentions in the room. And it's just so nice for different genders to be there, different sexualities to be there, and completely different walks of life, yet we're all so similar. Then we had some movement, and I was wrecked. I was so ready for this weekend. Also, I'm due my period. It's going to come in like 2 days' time. So I was ready for to be away from the hum and buzz of London. London is a lot. So that was grand. Sent the intentions for the weekend, some journaling, and slept like a baby. Get up the next morning, and we had a cold dip. Now, for anyone new to me, I have been cold water swimming since, I think it was June 2018 was my first time. That's a whole other podcast episode that you can listen here, where I nearly had a panic attack and then had the most bliss and peace in the world, and really fell in love with cold water swimming. Obviously I live in London now, so unfortunately my love affair is no more, because in London the only way I can access it, so I was going to saunas and ice baths every week in January as a way to survive January, but the ice bath is just not the same. It's still, you can't move. I feel restricted and trapped, and I just hate its guts. But yeah, it serves as a means to an end. It helps me relax. I do feel better for it, but I don't enjoy it. I really don't. Really not an ice bath person. So that's the only cold water therapy I'm getting. Yeah, don't get me wrong, I blast the cold shower on myself, but that's not for very long. The ice baths, Hampstead Heath is an hour and a half. No, it's a 3-hour travel. Just the travel's 3 hours. And some of my friends are like, it's not 3 hours, it's only 45-minute cycle. But then you have the 30-minute walk to the women's pond, because it has the hot showers. The shared, the all genders one doesn't have hot showers, and it's minus outside, so I have to go to the hot showers. So there's 45 minutes plus 30 minutes, so we're at an hour and a half, so it is 3 hours travel. So that's a lot, and like, who has that sort of time? Unless you give like a day at the weekend, right? I'm not getting there as much as I would like. Then what else options do I have? West Reservoir is a man-made, what would you call it? It's a reservoir, and it's cold, but it's surrounded by buildings, so it's not the same as Helen's Bay. You really notice the difference between nature and things that we just make. Anyway, that's the only way I'm sort of getting that nourishment of the cold water, and I don't think I had been in anything in a while apart from an ice bath. And so I was nervous. Because it was really frosty outside, and we were doing the lake and then the sauna for contrast therapy. And I was nervous. I brought my gloves and boots because, I mean, I had my gloves and boots on and my hands were sore after it. So if you are wanting to get into cold water, definitely invest in the gloves and the boots. You don't need it like post-June, but definitely winter and spring you need it. Autumn's grand as well. When we got into the lake, some people were jumping in, absolute head the balls. Just our different personalities. Now my personality when I'm in my 20s definitely would have been jumping in, but now I am much kinder to myself. I just like stepped in and my breathing was laboured. It was like really trying to relax my breathing, trying to slow it down, deepen it down. I was even having to sing a wee song. When it gets really hard, I have to sing a song because my breathing just wants to leave me. And a wee doggy paddle, head under and out. And as soon as you get out, you feel great. You don't even feel the cold. It felt amazing. It was really good. And then we got into the sauna, had some breakfast. And you are so starving after the cold water. There's nothing like the cold water to get hunger on you. It's the best feeling ever. What I was describing it as is it's like the cold water leaves me like a high, it's like a high downer, it's a downer, but it's a high one. It's a weird one, because you feel so relaxed, but yet there's a highness to it. There's an energy to it, even though you feel so soothed. It's so good. So I had some food, I had a wee bit of a rest before the movement practice. The movement practice was yang, it was fiery. Erin took it. Erin is an amazing teacher. It's not your typical yoga class. There was no warrior twos. It was a lot of sissy squats, sissy transition into way. This means nothing to you if you don't move, but quite complex movement and transitions, a lot of fun, some rolling, and very water-like movement. I've shared some Erin stuff on Instagram, and it's the way I try and I'm inspired to move in. And it's just looking at all the possibilities in the body, which really helps us access all the possibilities in the mind. Because if you can imagine, if we're always moving in the same pattern, then the same patterns will exist in our brain. And I'll share a bit where my patterns are locked in a bit. So that was great. And then, oh my God, wait to hear what happened. Felt great. Spicy, sweaty. And we were practicing breathwork now. It was 5 minutes tops, and you had to have your arms straight above your head. And we were standing. I'd say not very long in, I was like, oh dear. I could feel the tears flowing down my face, and it was just like connecting to so much grief in my body, so much sadness. But just to give this some context, right? I knew I had grief about my dad because there was all these things that were coming up to remind me of him. Me and him used to do a steam room when he was really sick, because he was a crazy bitch who, you're on death's door and you do the most intense thing you can do. That was my dad. I was struggling and I was, healthy, and he was on death's door, God forgive me, and doing insane things. Anyway, so that reminded me of him because I was in the saunas, and then I really felt him there. And then, I went to a really nice bar with my friend Victoria. It was like the type of bar where my dad would sit at the counter with the bartenders and stuff, and he just was everywhere I went. And I really felt the grief one day and reached out to his ones and stuff. Anyway, but I couldn't get a cry out. This is the point of me telling you this. I couldn't get a cry out. Emotionally constipated. I'd be someone who struggles to cry because I was shouted at for crying, as we all were as kids, and now I'm stuck. Even watched a cancer film on my own. What do you call the film? Hold on to get it up here. Watch that new cancer film. What do you call it? The film is called We Live in Time. Have you heard about it? It's about a woman who has ovarian cancer. My dad died from cancer, by the way, in case you're wondering. Because I know that there's people who are just tuning in and tuning out and stuff. And also I forget everything too. Even watched a film about cancer, still barely a dampness around my eye sockets. I was like, what's going on? When am I going to get this cry out? So I knew that was there and I couldn't get it out. Even my boy mates, we didn't watch it with them, but they would even tell me they were bawling at it, and they were like, Cardi, for real? You didn't cry at that? I don't know if you used to watch it. Let me know what you thought of it. But anyway, I'm in this class. My arms are shaking because there's so much emotion in me. And I just couldn't wait to get out of this room and just have a proper bawl, because you're trying to not sob loudly, tears are just falling down my face and I'm just quivering in the room. And the class ended. I went upstairs and just had a good cry, proper cry. But it was the type where I was happy to lie in bed, and I felt held even though I was alone. It was almost like someone was holding me in the room. I didn't feel I need something else. I was very content to be with the sadness and cuddled, and I felt really safe and comforted in it in a strange way. And I just sort of felt I wanted to lie there and be with the grief and be with my dad in a way. And tried to talk to him a bit. And then I skipped out of the next class because there was too much there. I wouldn't have been able to engage with the material. And Erin, God bless her, checked in on me and gave me a cuddle. And then got up, and we were taking turns in helping with cooking, which was part of this retreat. So it was nice to have something to do where it didn't involve emotions, but it was therapeutic, if that makes sense. The cooking can be. I had a glass of wine. Me and Damien, a fella I'd never met before, he owns a yoga studio. Great connection to have, but even better, he lives on a boat right beside me. So now I have a friend who lives on a boat. And he said he'll bring me with his girlfriend to, there's a bar on the boats. So I'm delighted about that. That's a real progression in my London life. So you never know who you're going to meet. Cooked dinner. So that was good. Had a glass of wine. Some retreats don't let you drink, some do. I'm whatever suits, as long as you're not getting blocked. You know what I mean? I don't want any drunk people at my retreats. And I enjoyed my 2 glasses or whatever glasses of wine. And played some games, had food. It just felt so nice. It felt like you were with family in a not triggered way. And that's what Erin always says, when you come into their church, it's welcome family. And it's nice, you're always trying to cultivate that sense of family, aren't you, in your life, even when it's not with your family. Then, so next up, what happened next was Cameron. So Cameron and Erin they've just got married, and they're who host this retreat. And Cameron was taking the yin practice, and it was only going to be 30 minutes because it was already late and it was 8 o'clock. So it was going to be 30 minutes, that's fine. I go into cobbler's pose. Cobbler's pose is also known as butterfly pose, where you lie on your back and your feet are together. Now this is a yin variation where you have a strap around your feet and your hips, so you feel more supported in this. and your knees fall apart, feet together, knees apart, laying flat on the ground. I mean, I would go as far to say excruciatingly painful. I was trying to adjust it so it would take a bit of the edge off because I was way beyond my edge. Like I'd gone too far. It was really uncomfortable. And I don't know whether, no, I actually do know. I believe it's the cold water brings everything to the surface. You know, the way salt draws it out. The ocean absorbs our CO2, our stressor from the body. And I really believe it absorbs deep emotional and tension from the body. It helps it all come to the surface so that we can soften and release. And I think this is why I had such a potent day with healing. Yeah. So I think that's why that pose was so uncomfortable, because lots of stuff came to the surface. Then I can't really remember what happened next. I can't tell you what happened the rest of the class. I'm going to have to ask someone what happened. But I remember that there was a pose that released your psoas that we went into. So your psoas, if you don't know what it is, it's known as the soul of the body in somatics. It runs from your thoracic spine. So it's around the 12th vertebrae of your thoracic spine. It runs into the first 4 of your lumbar spine. So it's really crucial muscle that connects from thoracic into lumbar, and it also runs along the core, hips, and into the top of the femur bone. So massive connection in the body, and it is deep within the core, so you can only imagine how much is stored there. The function of the psoas muscle, it almost looks like 2 labia. Am I mad? Go and Google it and think if you think the same. The function of it is linked to hip flexion, posture, and core stability, and it is deeply connected to emotions. It is connected to the diaphragm through fascia, which is like connective tissue, which connects our muscles, blood, bones. It's like the fluid of the body. And there's memory held in fascia too. You know, it can feel really tight. I know my right psoas, it can be very constricted. We released the psoas in this posture, and Carla went into another dimension. The next thing I remember, I don't remember much. I felt like deeply sedated in the very best way. And I felt someone massage my feet. So bear in mind, Erin's about the same size as me. I think I'm a bit taller, but I think I'm taller than everybody, and people say I'm not, so don't take my word for that. And Cameron's like 6 foot something and huge, right? So I felt someone massage my feet. I thought it was Erin. And next thing, someone's massaging my head. And I think that like only 5 minutes has passed, right? An hour had passed. It was now 9:30, right? And it turns out it was Cameron who was trying to wake me out of my coma by touch. And he said in my ear, I can't even remember what he said, but he was trying to like bring me back. So he used touch to try and bring me back, and then he had to use voice to try and bring me back. And that was the thing that brought me back. I was like, what is going on? And I opened my eyes and looked side to side. 20 people had vacated the room, stepped over me and left, and I had no idea. I was dead to the world in another dimension in the very best way. And I sort of just floated off the bed and went to sleep. Basically, I must have really needed it. And that was a big takeaway from me. You know the way I lose everything? Laptops, phones. Well, I got my phone stolen before. Keys. Don't know where anything is at any given time. I am very airy. My star sign is air. There's lots of air in my chart. There's no water in my chart. That's probably why I struggle to feel, which is why my life's devoted to feeling. So yes, and I need more earthy grounded practice. I'm like, how did I not click on that was the problem before Christmas? Why I was so scattery is because I didn't have enough earth grounding practices. Because I do have my meditation practice in place. You know, I sit for 30 minutes every morning. However, I needed more. And I didn't adjust. My body was letting me know with all the losing stuff that I needed something was out of balance, and I just didn't get the message, but I got the message on Saturday. Yeah, so I need more yin, more earth practices. So that's the change that I'm going to make. I do go for around the 30-minute walk in the marches, but it's not regular enough and it's not daily. I did that this morning. It was gorgeous. So I'm going to do more of those types of things and more yin. So I'll let you know how I get on. And then the next morning I got up and had a cold dip alone, which I love. I love a dip alone. Love it. It's so peaceful, so quiet. And, you know, that's when we get the answers, is when we create that space and we can be comfortable with that space. And that would have been my worst nightmare at one stage in my life, to be still in silence and stillness. But, you know, we can see so much reflection when the ocean's still from the sky, right? But when there's waves, we can't really see. So it's okay that the waves come and go, but we have to really appreciate those moments when there's stillness and we can see. Yeah. And then we had we did a practice. We did a practice with Cameron. It was a mixed movement practice. It was a lot of free movement where you're not told what to do. Does that make you wide-eyed? Yeah, imagine not being told Warrior 2 and Warrior 3. And there's a mix of people, right? There'll be a mix of yous listening who, some of you don't like yoga because it's too restrictive. It's too, tells you exactly how to move. And some of yous love to be told what to do. Love it, love it, love it. Most people love to be told what to do. But some people, it's too restrictive. And I think we all need the freedom. Well, I personally believe we all should strive to not want to be told what to do. And that comes out in your movement practice. And I noticed when the free movement, what came up for me in terms of discomfort was noticing I kept on moving in the same patterns, which was frustrating me. I wanted to be more creative. And I just realized that I don't have enough play and creative practice in my life to nourish and support that. So it's another adjustment I need to make, or I want to make, sorry. I want to have more silly time to just mess about and see what gets uncovered, rather than so goal productive. A lot of my movements, like, I want to do pike press and I want to do this and I want to do that. I want to do more movement where I'm just like exploring things and more play and see what ways I like to move, which I think dance is helping with, definitely. But I noticed like that, wanting to compare, wanting to be more free, noticing how other people moved and feeling envious, not in like a horrible way where I wanted to push them over, but just like it showed me that there's a need in me that I want to be that free. Yeah, so I felt really inspired from that, and it really showed me my shadow side, or like my shadow work that I want to bring to life, where I'm restrictive, where I'll go into my head, because sometimes what happens to me, when I get lost, I go into my head. So say in movement, I get stuck and I don't know where to go. I'll go into my head and then I get more stuck. And it's just practicing not dropping into the body. So I'd love to know your experiences with movement and what comes up with you. Movement's such a gorgeous way to study our unconscious, and our unconscious is what shapes our whole world, right? So we need to spend more time in the body to have more autonomy in our life. Because I definitely don't believe in free will. That's a conversation that came up about free will, but we're not getting into that today. There's no time. After me saying, my mantra is, I have all the time in the world, is it? I have all the time in the world, and I'm saying no time. The reflections on the retreat was just how much I needed it. I really needed rest and to really schedule in. So I try and schedule in one day a month where I don't do anything. I'm not hungover. That doesn't count as a rest day. Just, lie in bed, have a lie-in. Don't train, just eat really nourishing food, really comforting, really soothing. And I'm not having enough time off my phone. I need more social media free days. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to do one day off my phone a week. And I've ordered an alarm clock, one that my granny used to have, so that my phone's, I've been saying this for ages, but I haven't done it. I'm a waffler. I have been waffling to use lies. But I'm going to order today, and I'll let you know how I get on next week. I got clarity around aspirations I have for my career and relationship. Yeah, just, I'm really grateful I got time to connect with my dad and really feel that emotion and love and grief that's held in me, and to connect to that instead of being numb or tense to it. My wee shoulders are so tense. They were like 10 inches off the ground. So I need to offer some nourishment to my wee shoulders. And then I need more grounding and more play. That was my takeaways. I need more grounding and more play to break out of patterns that I'm in. And also this year, girls, and the 3 boys that listen, I have 3 weddings, 2 hens, back-to-back weekends, may I add, 2 40ths. I mean, this is a very full year. And trying to incorporate this into it is going to be, it's going to be interesting. I don't think I had anything on last year. I can't remember. I don't think I did. Did I have anything on social commitment-wise? I don't even think I had one wedding. No, I didn't. So this is going to be a shock to the system. To go to having not any friends' life events, no babies. I have a baby on the way as well. My best friend Rebecca's having a wee baby boy. So it's so much. I have a very full year, and I'm trying to have grounding practices so I don't lose all my life possessions along the way, and more play to explore new patterns and possibilities. That's the crack. That is the crack. I would love to know what you're needing more of and what your crack is. And I hope this helped if you are thinking about retreat and what can be offered from retreat. And if you have any questions around it, please let me know. I hope you found this useful. I want to hear all your questions that you want from me and Emma about love for next week. I'm very excited for that episode. And yeah, I just have so much fun with Emma. So I'm really excited about it. And have a gorgeous day. Send in loads of love. Take such good care of you. And I will see you next week.